Sao Paulo Brazil is the most populous city in the Western Hemisphere, home to over 11 million people. Right in the middle of the city stands a racetrack built nearly a century ago, Interlagos. It means between two lakes, and it's been home to the Brazilian Grand Prix for decades. This afternoon, Formula I's F3 Championship will take to the twists and turns of this historic racing facility for round 2 of the season. After the National Park of Speed in the United States a few weeks ago, it's a homecoming for many, a trip to Brazil, Sao Paulo, and Interlagos. Welcome to SimTV. My name's Kyle. I are joined tonight by, or I should say this morning, by Finian D'Acuna as we tackle the second round of the 2020 Formula I F3 Championship. And Finian, last time out it was at Road America in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. We're a long way from the U.S. today, but a homecoming for a lot of the drivers. This is a very Brazilian-heavy series with Formula I, and I think for many, this will feel right at home.
Indeed it will, at least for the Formula 1 grid. In fact, looking at the order for the F3 grid, or the F3 race that we're just going live from now, that single driver actually comes from Brazil in this particular series. So once we get to the F1, then we're going to see a lot of the Brazilian drivers trying to win in their home country.
So with qualifying underway right now, we'll take it down to the racetrack in just a moment. But of course, I'd also like to go over some of the little facts and tidbits about this racetrack. Originally constructed in 1940, the land was originally zoned for apartment complexes or buildings back then for housing. Well, that changed in the 1929 stock market crash, and it was changed to a racetrack. And now, obviously, the threat of that racetrack going away and becoming a housing complex is ever threatening still. But 15 turns, 4.3 kilometers around here, Finian, and a very, very famous Grand Prix facility that's been used in Formula One since 1972. But this racetrack is so different from what we saw at Road America a couple weeks ago. Very flowing, a lot of high downforce corners, and not a whole lot of straightaway when compared to Road America.
Yeah, that's going to be, is also going to be a lot more technical of a track, obviously being one of the tracks on the F1 calendar. Almost all those tracks that are there, technical in their own nature, but Sao Paulo definitely quite a bit. So it's going to be interesting to see these drivers, especially tackle the middle part of the track. That's where you wind pretty much up and down hills. Some very slow corners, also very high downforce corners as well. It's a good mix of corners. It has a lot of flow to it. It's just a great racing facility.
It really is. You can see Sao Paulo in the background, home to 11.3 million people, the largest city in the Western Hemisphere. As qualifying is underway, Juho Peltomäki in the number 82. This team was unstoppable at Road America, but there was a couple drivers that were threatening to kick them off pole a few minutes ago. One of those drivers was, I believe it was, looking down the order, got to find the name again, Luke Barton in the number 18. That was in practice, was quicker than Peltomäki. It has not yet laid down a time in qualifying, but would expect this number 18 to be pretty solid here once this race gets underway.
He's actually coming back across start-finish line. I want to say that this is a time lap.
It is a 1:27.82 or 8:70 will put him second quick behind Peltomäki by 0.289 of a second. Of course, you can follow along in real time with live timing and scoring. That, as always, is available at simtvbroadcasting.com/timing. So you can follow along with your favorites in real time. So there's Barton in the number 18 as he heads down towards the backside of the course again. The Sim Sport News team out of England with Jacob Toffs as the other driver. He is currently sitting in third right now. The green on the timing and scoring indicating the team that they are a part of. And a pretty decent field, just over 20 drivers here for the second round of the season, Finian.
Yeah, I'm glad also to see these guys here, the SimSport News guys, because we were kind of looking, especially after Road America, that essentially MPH Racing was going to run away with the championship in this series, but looks like they're not going to be able to take it easy here. They got a good chance of a battle, not only in the Drivers' Championship, but also in the Constructors' Championship. After these guys, I think they were one of the group of drivers that missed Road America due to the Spa 24.
So heading down into this middle sector, and this is really where the downforce of these cars is going to come into play. The Formula One cars later this afternoon will be flying through here. The F3's not quite as much downforce, not quite as much power, but they still zip around here pretty good lap times in the low 127 range. So excited to see what these guys can do here today. Again, pretty tight field. About 11 drivers within a second of each other. Vincent Olivier Barron in the number 37, back in 11th spot as it stands. But Jacob Toffs working through a very sharp right-hander down the hill. And again, you're going to see the speed climb back up as they climb up the hill again. And a lot of elevation change here as well. These cars will be stuck to the ground like airplanes here once they come down the hill.
Yeah, absolutely, and Yanni McKilla just jumped up to second place, putting Barton back down at third. So Barton's going to have to try to answer here and try to maybe move himself back up.
Again, the MPH Racing guys, both out of Finland, and they were incredibly fast at Road America, worked really well together, and currently the quickest in qualifying by just about 0.2 of a second. McKilla, 80 thousandths behind teammate Peltomaki. John Watson in the number 14, he's going to go fourth quick with a 1:27.877. Watson from TNT Racing, teammates with Scott Hensley. Looking down the orders, trying to see if Hensley is here. I don't think Hensley is here this afternoon, so TNT Racing might be all by his lonesome today with Watson behind the controls. Enzo Haiseta is here in the number 4 car. He's back in 16th, has not come back out on the racetrack yet. A 1:29.20 for him. Colin Black out on track in the number 23, down in 18th position. Luke Barton has not yet gone faster than his 1:27.8.
And he's already just come by to complete a lap too, so he's have to go out again here. And this is, these guys have started the lap now with 30 seconds remaining. If you can start a lap, you can finish it. If not, you're going to be finishing your last run. So we'll see here if anyone can topple over the MPH guys up on top 1 and 2 at the moment.
Jonathan Diggs in the 45 has not laid down a time. Everybody else has been on track. Enzo Haiseta, it looks like he just jumped back out on the racetrack in his number 4. However, he's going to be out of time to lay down another lap. So he is currently scored in 16th position as it stands. So going to have a little bit of work to do here tonight. And this is not going to be an easy racetrack to pass at, Finian. With the twists and turns of Interlagos, you're not going to have the extreme slipstream that you had at Road America. You're still going to get it down the long front straightaway in towards turn number 1. But I would still say it's not going to be as easy to pass as it was at Road America.
Frederick Larson, big upset, going to take third on third starting spot. Just went up there coming across the line. So great qualifying effort for the 22 machine.
And Scandinavian Larson is in the number 22, so he's going to go third quick. And out of Denmark for Legendary Racing, teammates with Danny O'Keefe out of Ireland. And Danny O'Keefe is here, and he went 13th best. As we wait for the rest of the field to come on through, Daniel Flores in the number 20 car is working his way around his bright orange machine. Down in 21st position for Daniel. And that's the RPM's DG Designs Racing team, teammates with Roger Percelli in the, let's see, Percelli, I believe, scored, was here earlier. Let's see how far up the order he found himself. 14th in the 03.
Yeah, it looks like with that, I think we're done with drivers coming across the line. So it looks like qualifying is essentially going to be complete here at Interlagos for the F3 Championship.
And we'll go over the starting lineup here in just a moment. But of course, Peltomaki and McKilla, the two front runners from Road America, already starting up there on pole position and the outside pole for the second round of the 2020 Formula I F3 Championship. Thanks for joining us here again on Sim TV. If you're brand new, make sure to hit the subscribe button to join us for more Formula Racing on Saturdays. We've got Weekend Warrior Spec Racer Fords tomorrow afternoon. We've got NASCAR Cup Racing tonight at 10 from Las Vegas, Nevada. A little bit of everything here on Sim TV, so make sure you join us for more. So with qualifying complete, the last driver on the racetrack was Flores, and he has re-entered the pit lane. So time to take him down to the green flag and take one last look at the weather here, Finian. And a nice, relatively cool day, however, very humid out there. 90.7% humidity. It's going to be a hot one out there for the drivers. It's going to be very sticky. Let's head through the starting lineup here in just a moment. On the front row is going to be Juho Peltomaki and Jan McKilla in the second position. And that team will sweep that front row. Frederick Larson in third, and Luke Barton in fourth. John Watson and TNT Racing, he rolls off fifth, and Chris Hanson starts in sixth.
Yeah, then moving on back into the next 6 drivers on the grid. We got Jacob Toss lined up in 7th place. Brandon Fioranti going to line up 8th. Nicholas Shepard 9th. Pavel Okogretsky going to line up in 10th. Vincent Olivier Barron going to line up in 11th. And Zach Booth going to round out 12th.
And back in 13th, Danny O'Keefe will roll off alongside Roger Percelli. Behind them, Nathan Foe and Sebastian Jackson in the 16th place car. And I believe the team on that, let's see. Again, we're still getting used to the teams here, and they haven't been quite as consistent as they were in the F1 series.
Volante Racing.
Volante Racing, that's right. I have to scroll up a little bit. behind that. Let's see if he's got his teammate. I don't think he does. Sam Kuchert out of the Netherlands, but we'll roll on back to the next group here. Janis Kauskis in the 19th position, Graham Lugehead in the 20th spot, then Dan Florea in 21st, Atish Dubising in 22nd, and Jonathan Diggs rounding out in 23rd. So as we get ready to line up here for the race this afternoon, we're going to have Formula One right after this. We're going to turn them loose. Just a moment. Just over 20 drivers for the second round of the season in the Formula I F3 Championship. The lights are about to ignite and then extinguish as we head down towards turn number 1. Silence before the storm here in Sao Paulo, Brazil, the most populous city in the area by a large margin. 11.3 million people. Not all of them here to watch, but the lights are on. We're waiting for the race start for the second round of the Formula I F3 Championship. Here we go, waiting for the lights. 22 drivers on the grid. Green flag flies and we're racing in Formula I F3 Championship. The field accelerating down towards turn number 1. A clean start for the MPH racing cars down into turn number 1. Peltomaki going to lead them down as behind him, 2 and 3 wide, Sebastian Jackson, the Volante Racing number 12 on the inside, trying to avoid any collisions. So far so good as we head towards turn number 3.
Yeah, those first S's are going to definitely lead to a lot of carnage heading down through there. Looks like everyone else is going to make it okay. There you see Larson peeling off to the side to get to the inside of McKilla, who did not get a good start, going to fall off 4th after the first few corners.
McKilla pulled right back on the racetrack, right in front of John Watson. Trouble behind, and it's Nathan Foe. There's more trouble off. Cars scattered. Nathan Foe, Roger Perselli in the 0-3, and I believe they had started near each other, Phineas. So this might be a contact situation. Let's go back and have a look. 0-3 Perselli behind. Oh, he's just going to get loose, and whoa, he just climbs up over the top, does the 47. Another car, that was Enzo Haiseta, also involved.
Yeah, again, cold tire is going to catch these guys out. You got to get a little bit of heat in these cars until you can really send it to the corners. You can see him trying to avoid just a little bit of contact with the side pod and a lot of damage to that car.
More trouble. And I think we've just seen Colin Black go off the racetrack. He's got his wing missing on that car. Sebastian Jackson also turned around.
Not a good start for him. I'm trying to see if he's got damage to his machine, but here's a look at the replay.
Yeah, there's Sebastian Jackson right in front of Colin Black, and just overslowed, I think, and caught him off guard, and they're both going to get into the barriers. But lap 1 complete. Peltomaki going to bring us back across the start-finish line. Luke Barton in second place, and not too far back. Then Frederick Larson to the inside of McKilla, and he's going to hang on down the front straight.
Yeah, McKilla still trying to get that spot back as Larson was taking the defensive line. See a car off the track. That's Gretzky in the 17 machine going to go flying off in turn 1.
Luke Barton is chasing down Peltomaki right now as they head down towards...
For fourth place, McKilla still trying to hold up now. John Watson in behind in the 14. He goes up the inside. This has not been a good start for McKilla at all the way back from 2nd to 5th.
And not a great start here in the number 12 car. The 4 of Enzo Haiseta has come down to pit lane. Looks like he is free and clear and gotten back out on the racetrack. No damage on that car from what I can see. The rest of the field that was also involved in crashes, they've also come down to pit lane. But for the top spot, now Peltomaki is getting real busy, and the MPH racing car is getting swarmed at the start. Was not expecting this here, Finney, and Luke Barton is all over him.
Yeah, again, this is really what we're seeing was the fastest car in practice, Luke Barton, so still showing that pace here in the race where it counts the most. And the top 2 for the most part are kind of broken away from the rest of the field. Got a 1.5 second gap back to Frederick Larson in 3rd.
So 27 minutes remaining in this race and already some crash damage earlier. There's more trouble. Zach Booth is around and another car with him. And that looks to be Nicholas Shepard in the 21. One of the 6 a.m. film-sponsored cars, and they're going to loop it. The bottom of the hill. He pulled right back out on the racetrack in front of a group of cars. Here's Shepard, who's on the outside. Did they get together?
No, they just both got loose and got spinning off into the penultimate corner.
Yeah, and maybe running a little bit too low downforce. This is a place where I would like to have more downforce than we had at Road America, but still maybe getting used to the setup. Here's for the lead. Here comes Luke Barton down the inside for the top spot.
He's got a pretty good run. Going to stall out a little bit as he peels up, but it's actually going to be Peltomaki that gives him the spot. Going to try to switch it up back up the inside. Can't get it done as Barton's going to hold on to the lead.
Great job. So Barton will move up into the top spot. Peltomaki will have to settle for second for now. Gretzky just hit pit lane to get damage repair on that car, and Peltomaki starting to lose ground already on Barton here, Finney. This is not what I expected. This team was so dominant at Road America and already struggling a little bit. I mean, they're running really 2nd and 5th, but this is struggling compared to where they were at Road America a few weeks ago.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, especially considering what we saw in the qualifying too, we kind of expected these guys to at least be in the top for the most part, but both of them kind of caught off guard here on the start order, running second and fifth, which is not terrible by any stretch of the imagination, but not as well as we would have thought.
There's Ferrari in the 102, the Blame Canada Racing Team car, right behind attrition-filled in the number 10, and Graham Luchhead in the 35. Big curb climb there. That's something you got to keep an eye on. These cars are so low. There's big, tall curbs around here. I wouldn't not necessarily use them everywhere, but for the race leader, here comes Peltomaki on the outside down turn to turn number 1.
And he's not going to get it done, and that front stretch is really one of your best passing opportunities. Oh, for third place, contact in behind. Oh, and a damaged 22 of Larson going to get on it. Oh, Watson also going to get involved. Major wreck. Several cars involved in the Curva del Sol.
And was that one of the cars was turned upside down. It was the 115, or 116, I should say, of Jacob Toffs. A horrible crash. Gets turned up and over. A big mess down in the first sequence. What happened here?
Yeah, it looked like the 22. He just got loose, went over the curve, the second part in the Senna S.
It just sort of stacked up and then lost it. And then Jacob Toffs gets turned up and over. What a violent collision there for him.
And 3 cars like that, 3 major contenders, I might say, too, out of the race.
There's another look at this, and Jacob Toffs coming down the hill unsighted, and the car spun. He went to driver's left. Hopefully he could get on through, but the 22 comes back across the racetrack, tags him, and just sends him airborne over the top, and then right down on that roll hoop, and skidded across the pavement at full speed. And also tagged, I think that was one of the Blame Canada Racing cars at the very end there, but what a wreck.
Yeah, that was Chris Hanson in the 77 who's going to inherit 4th place. Looks like that car is okay, was able to get away without any damage to his machine.
A lot of cars on the pit lane damaged early in the going. Meanwhile, the leaders come back down into turn number 1, Luke Barton, Juho Peltomaki. Then Jan Makilla is going to inherit 3rd place, and Chris Hanson, that was the Blame Canada Racing car that we saw just sneak through there. I don't see any damage on it, but he got lucky.
Yeah, he did get extremely lucky, and will continue onwards. And for McGill, that wrecked helped him out quite a bit, put him from 5th up into 3rd. That being said, though, he's got a massive gap to make up. You see Zach Booth damage. You see the rear wing actually coming flying off. That car, I think, going to be done for the day.
Yeah, it's not going to be easy to drive either. And he's going to lose that car and find himself in the barrier. We have lost about 7 cars in the first couple minutes of this race. Dramatic way to start this event, but Luke Barton and Peltomaki out front, they're avoiding it. And Daniel Flores is around, he's looped it.
And he's going to get it turned back on the track, found a gap in traffic, will get back rolling. But yeah, that's kind of interesting because I don't consider Interlagos an attrition-filled track, but it's turning out to be, at least in the F3 race.
There's Graham Luchhead in the 35, he's gotten through to 9th. Brendan Fioranti in the 102 is up to 8th. And so both the Blame Canada Racing cars up inside the top 10 at the moment. And taking a look, it seems like the MPH Racing cars and Blame Canada are the only teams that are completely inside the top 10. Everyone else is kind of scattered throughout the field. Out of the race officially, Frederick Larson in the 22, John Watson, Jacob Toffs, Nicholas Shepard, Colin Black. And now think back to Enzo Haiseta, who was out in the opening lap, or at least had to come to pit lane. He went all the way to the back of the field. He's back up into 13th place, so it started as kind of a bad day for him. It's sort of come back to him in a good way.
Yeah. Still though, I mean, again, he points you finished in the top 10, so he's going to be kind of eyeing that position. But I mean, if things continue to go at the rate they've been going at, he should be in the top 10 in no time. So I think he's going to kind of hope for a few more retirements to bump him up and get him some good points for today.
Denner Flair in the 20 car just got back around Luchhead. There's that TV thing right behind him as they come down through that first chicane complex. A good run here on the 35. He's going to tuck to driver's left. Had to back out of the throttle for a moment.
And couldn't quite get there. And you can see now another run heading down into the next corner. This is out of Curva del Sol. This is another good passing opportunity. Going to look around the outside now.
And maybe try the crossover on corner exit. That exit is a lot more restrictive than it looks like, and you can use some of that runoff there, Finian, but the camber falls away in the runoff, so I'm not really sure it's any faster.
No, it really isn't. It's kind of the tough part to deal with the driver being cut out offline. So he's going to fall in behind and try again next lap.
The field is sort of spread out just a little bit, but up front, Luke Barton has just checked out 1.2 seconds ahead of Juho Peltomaki.
I was just gonna say, this is actually pretty impressive considering the pace we've seen Peltomaque have, and then to just get up and straight up drive away from the guy ahead of you, or behind you, sorry. Considering the draft is pretty effective down some of the straightaways here, can at least keep you in behind in a battle, but he's broken that draft and then some, and is consistently breaking away from Peltomaque.
Bising in the 10 car still challenging 10th place with the 35 as they head down onto the front straightaway. Complete lap number 6.
And this is an important spot because again, this is for 10th place. This is get your first points paying position in 10th place. See him throw it up the inside, and it looks like Bising's gonna get that spot.
And then there's another straightaway here at the exit at turn 3, and this is sort of one of the other sections where you can get a lot of speed. It's probably actually a little bit longer than the front straightaway. And you can get up pretty much terminal velocity in these F3 cars before you have to jam on the brakes into turn 4, but I don't think Luch has got quite the pace that Bising has. Look behind him, there's Jonathan Diggs in the 45.
Yeah, looking at another battle that's brewing as well as between Chris Hanson, Vincent Olivier Barron in 4th and 5th place respectively, but actually in behind Jacob Toss, who's that green and black car ahead of him. He's back in 17th after coming out onto the track with a fresh car.
Well, that's a good thing, because he landed on the roll hoop of that car, which is not how I'd recommend landing in an open wheeler, but he'll get that car back out, repaired and rolling. Chris Hansen, Blame Canada Racing car, is the farthest forward of those two team cars. Fioranti, his teammate, is back in 8th. Vincent Olivier Barron had a pretty solid run last week, or a couple weeks ago at Road America. He runs 5th right now after starting 11th. A good climb for the bright orange 37.
Yeah, and he still has a chance to continue more if he can get past Hansen up ahead, put himself in 4th place.
So just over 10 minutes in, we've lost a handful of cars. 4 drivers retired officially. Pavel Ogretzky has gotten back out on track in the 19th place 17 car. He's a lap down, along with Zach Booth, Jacob Toss. Sebastian Jackson is also back out of the racetrack after his collision, down in 16th place.
Yeah, not a particularly good day for Jackson, hoping that he can kind of turn this around. It's going to be tough, though. I mean, he started in 16th, is running in 16th, but again, no points paying and no points paid for finishing outside of the top 10.
Martinez Janiskowskis in the 02 is going to slip around and let the 102 go by. I'm not sure if that was calculated or if he had made a mistake, but Janiskowskis is going to let the 102 through into 7th place.
Yeah, he just missed the corner, and it was, I guess, trying to avoid contact, just let him go by at the moment. He's going to pick himself back up. And that's the hard thing as a driver, you know, once you make a mistake, to get back in a rhythm, because you develop rhythm over the course of a run, and then once you lose it, it can kind of take you through corners to get back up to speed. And it looks like he's going to just kind of tow along with Fioranti, try to get that 7th place back.
That's the MJCV Racing team car. His other teammate out of Scotland is Colin Black, who is out of the race, so he's the lone car left in the race in this team.
In the 35, he's gone spun around in 13th out of the what looks like the final corner back into the straightaway.
Here at how he found himself in this position, and again, I'm surprised to see so many cars looping around here. I would have thought everyone would have gone with a pretty safe high downforce setup here, but on the brakes just looped it around, and a couple cars squeezing. Ooh, Haiseta just cut through there.
Yeah, after his teammate went flying around and tried to turn it into a passing opportunity, was able to actually get past Diggs, who also narrowly avoided contact there.
Great work there by Haiseta to get through. Haiseta's back up to 11th, so making this really a pretty solid day. If he can get up inside the top 10, at this rate he could be in the top 5 with the attrition rate that we're seeing here. But we'll jump back up to the 77. Chris Hansen, he's in 4th, and Vincent Olivier Barron last time by was just a hair quicker and now is in the slipstream.
Yeah, this is going to be, again, once you're in the slipstream, it gives you a lot more opportunity there heading down the front straightaway. It's a very long, it's not necessarily straight, but it's a long acceleration zone, I guess is the best way to put that, constantly on the throttle. Be able to really get a solid draft down here, too.
Take a look at the speeds, climbing up 240 or so kph into the braking zone for turn number 1, chasing the Blame Canada Racing car, the 77 of Chris Hansen. 16 minutes to go in the Formula I F3 Championship, round 2 race of the season, before we head to the Formula 1 Championship race for the Brazilian Grand Prix later this afternoon.
also looking too at who's run the fastest lap at the moment, and I don't think you'd be too surprised to find that it's Luke Barton in first place. And that's important because we are running based off of the current F1 point structure, where you get a bonus point for fastest lap. Last week it was Peltomaki that got after winning the race, and now it looks like Barton will also get that point as it stands with a 127.807.
Well, his teammate Jacob Toffs was sort of abruptly taken out of the race earlier, and both those green cars were up inside the top 5 earlier in the going, but now with Toffs out, it's really up to Luke Barton to carry the fort, so to speak, for this team for the rest of the day for SimSport News out of England. So he continues to lead by just about 2.2 seconds. Daniel Flores gone around again. Been a troublesome day for him, a couple spins.
Yeah, this is tough too, especially again, because he was running in 9th when that happened. He actually spun himself out, and now he's going to drop outside of the top 10. So went from getting 2 points to none. And that's the frustrating thing with the point standings, point structure, the way it is. And speaking of which, because he spun, I said I'm going to be inside the top 10.
Up into 10th goes the number 4 car. And it's about 7 seconds, or excuse me, I should say 2.5 seconds up to Atishtibi Singh, who is in 9th, and Janis Kauskas in 8th, Brendan Fioranti in 7th, and Danny O'Keefe, Vincent Olivier Barron, and the rest of the field. We've gotten the field kind of spread out now, but for 4th place, Hanson and Barron still only separate by about 0.8 of a second, and we're just about halfway through this race.
Yeah, it looks like Barron's kind of struggling to catch back up to Hanson. I'm not sure if it's just dirty air that he's dealing with. Again, if some of these guys, if they're running, a low downforce package, if you're in that dirty air, you're losing what little downforce you have. So it's kind of tough to deal with there. He's actually, you can see him there. He was sliding a bit through that slow corner there. So he definitely is running less downforce than maybe some of the other guys around here. That's going to cause him to struggle quite a bit.
This track folds back on itself so much, and this is one of those places where you can kind of see the guy that you're battling just up the road, and I think that gives you the false sense of how close you really are, and you might push a little bit too hard, and we might have seen Barron do just that a couple minutes ago. He's about 0.2 off Hanson last time by. We'll see where he is this time, but he's 1.4 back now after starting the lap less than 0.8 back.
Oh, that was a cool shot. not to flatter myself, that just looked really cool.
Yeah, Finian does all the camera work and gave you some drone cameras to play with today. So Jan Makilla going to jump back up to 3rd. Again, this team started on the front row. Think back to Road America a few weeks ago. This team was unstoppable, but if we had Jacob Toff still here, I think it would probably be the SimSport News cars that would be the dominant force.
Yeah, and we do have some drop raises, so the fact that SimSport News guys missed round 1, that's not going to affect them in the grand scheme of things. You still have enough chances to get back in the points, but it's definitely looking, I think we're starting to see, at least from the pace both teams showed, that it's going to come down between those two, I think, for the Constructors' Championship. Both have really good sets of driver. Obviously, Barton leading the race at the moment, and even Toffs is running in the top 5 before his incident, so it's really interesting seeing how these guys go back and forth out the season, which I'm kind of glad, because I wasn't looking entirely forward to seeing basically another Mercedes kind of dominance in this series with MBH.
Barton continues to stretch his lead, now 2.5 seconds up the road. Nathan Foe and the 35 Graham Luchhead for 13th. They have just traded spots, move Nathan back up to that position. He started in 15th. Remember, he was involved in that early collision. I believe that was down in turn 4 on the opening lap with John Watson and a few other cars. Or it wasn't Watson. It was, there was a few other cars involved. Hard to keep track. There were so many incidents early in the going.
Yeah, and it was great recovery, all things considered. Up into 13th, it's going to be hard to try to gain anything more, but still a solid recovery considering the way his day started off.
Luke Barton continues to lead this race 2.5 seconds out in front. Juhel Peltomaki in 2nd. To work our way through here, 11.5 minutes to go.
I don't think you can.
11 minutes to go here, and sorry, we have someone in the booth that's not supposed to be here, and we can't remove them. So if anybody's watching, please don't come into the broadcast booth ever. We got a job to do, and we're trying to focus on the job at hand here. So
there's a big wreck heading down involving Colin Black and sorry, never mind. I was still watching the first lap. My apologies for that.
Yeah, we're a little farther than the first lap, yeah.
I was looking at the replay to see if Fo was involved in the first lap, and that's what I was still watching.
All right, so 10 minutes to go now. Luke Barton leads by 3 seconds. And attrition-filled and Enzo Haiseta, how about for 9th? Look at how fast this 4 car has been charging through the field now. Up for 9th place, he's coming.
Yeah, and still looking to gain even more points if he can climb up into a 9th place. It's going to be not from 1, from 2. And again, it is very low points totals when you consider the grand scheme of things, but still every point counts in a championship like this, and he's got a great run heading down the front straightaway.
We're going to make a booth swap here, so just hang tight for 1 second as we switch on over to our private channel that will not be infiltrated by others outside of the fact. So, all right, so Enzo Haiseta is through into 9th past Atish DB Singh, and after his early collision, he's got his race back on track here.
Yeah, but still not done yet. He's still not out of the clear. He's got W Singh still up in behind, and again, that draft is so hard to shake off. We saw Barton still amazingly was able to break away from Peltomaki's draft, but W Singh looks like he's still going to hang in, and that's kind of hard. You go from being the attacking driver to the defending driver. It's a whole different mindset to deal with.
Rest of the field pretty spaced out at this point, and this is, I think, a good thing for these drivers, especially in the opening laps when you have so much traffic and there's so many issues. To get yourself spread out and just run some laps is probably very reassuring to get yourself back on pace. But for 12th place, here comes Nathan Fo on Jonathan Diggs, and the 45 and 47 about to duke it out here.
Diggs looks like that car is really uncomfortable. He's just kind of throwing it into the corners, and the back end's starting to slide out a bit out of some of them. But Fo with a really good run here. Going to look around the outside in the following corner. Going to try to turn it back in deep on exit. Get a great run.
Bit of a mistake there by Diggs at corner exit. The 47 looking pretty strong here. The slipstream on the front straightaway should take him right on by, and he's going to make a big mistake there at the corner exit, and through comes Fo into 12th place.
Yeah, Diggs, that car really struggling. You see him just completely miss the corner. He's missed a lot of the corners in this section of track. Not sure if it's the setup they're struggling with or the tires or maybe a combination of both at the moment, but going to drop back to 13th.
Enzo Haiseta, we talked about his progress back forward. He is only 3 seconds back from Martinez Janiskauskas up in 8th place. What a day that would be to get wrecked on the opening lap, come to pit lane, get your car fixed, come back out, drive all the way through the field, and get top 10 and continue climbing through the field at this rate. This is going to be a good day for Haiseta.
Yeah, actually, Janiskauskas, he actually ran a really slow last lap. It was because he came sliding out of that final corner before the straightaway, which a lot of drivers have been struggling with. And again, I think it's due to a lot of the low downforce setups I think these guys are running, or low downforce configuration. And so he kind of went flying off the corner, lost some time. And that's brought, again, Haiseta closer and closer. And again, Haiseta, putting in some really good times as well. So he's still climbing up, might get 8th before this all said and done.
See the yellow bullet there in the background approaching. And Janiskauskas, again, the CB Racing car. Again, his teammate Colin Black wrecked out earlier in the race. Janiskauskas all by himself as it stands. Luke Barton has been the dominant driver in this race. He's led 13 of the 15 laps that we've completed. We have about 5 laps to go next time by, and he's approaching the lap down number 87 of Sebastian Jackson. Volante Racing team car. And Sebastian's been by himself the first couple weeks. I don't know where his teammate is, Vinny, but they would certainly be doing a lot better if the teammate would show up.
Yeah, I know. I can imagine it's a little frustrating with dealing with a team that's not here, because again, you are working as a team for the Constructors Championship, and no matter where you're up, you want to kind of work together. And it's unfortunate to have only one of the 2 drivers here as we look at another battle here. That was Nathan Fo past Jonathan Diggs finally, so he got the pass done. Roger Perselli and Graham Luchhead trading spots for 14th. The 35 has been going nowhere but backwards. Started 20th. He moved his way up with all the accidents, but has now kind of dropped back down the field. I'm not sure if the pace just isn't there or if he's got a little bit of damage on that car, but going the wrong direction at this point in the race. And I think he might be dealing with a similar thing with Jonathan Diggs, and I think this might be due to some of these guys with lower downforce setups. I think it's making the tires work a little bit too hard, and it might be just kind of wearing off the tires to a point where they're just really lacking in grip towards the end of this race.
6 minutes to go. Checking back in on 8th place, Martinez Janiskauskas. Entering turn number 12 now. Haiseta closing in 2.8 back. And last time by, Haiseta was about a half a second quicker than Janiskauskas, so I imagine it would take him 3 or 4 laps to get there. The problem is he's going to run out of time. Now the slipstream is really the big factor. Can he get in that slipstream and chase that car down before the end of the race?
Yeah, the magic number really to get is within a second, and obviously no DRS for these cars, but it really, once you get in that second in behind, you start to get that draft. That's going to be, like you were saying, going to be very key for Haiseta to get to Janiskauskas for 8th place.
Yeah, clearly a fan favorite as well. He's got a big audience sitting watching him, cheering him on as he charges through the field. But it's been the most impressive drive we've seen so far.
Yeah, I mean, he's been one of the biggest movers. In fact, actually, Janiskauskas up ahead actually moved up more position than Haiseta. Janiskauskas started in 19th, is up into 8th. So he also had a really solid climb forward.
That just sounds like challenge accepted here. So I don't think Haiseta is going to get any farther than 8th place, but 8th is certainly still on the table here as he reels in Haiseta down to 1.7 seconds.
He made some big gains in this first half a lap, and I think going to pretty much do the same on the second part. So kind of keep an eye on this. This is one of the closer battles developing on the track.
I think it is going to be our closest battle, and there's a few more throughout the grid, including Roger Purcelli and Graham Lushed, but they've already traded spots. I don't see the 35 going back by the 0-3. We'll keep an eye on it, though. 1.4.
Oh, Haiseta around out of the penultimate corner, and all the gain that he made, he's going to lose it. Actually going to get past Davasing's going to get past him, and it looks like he'll still barely hold in the 10th. That's Daniel Flores now coming out of the final corner with a huge run.
Jonathan Diggs has also looped it out of 11th spot. Let's see what happened to Diggs first, and he came down into and just accelerated a bit. Oh, he got it on the corner exit, got the curb a bit too much. Haiseta, though, just the slightest of mistakes. Right here, turns in and maybe just the back steps out. Oh, gets the curb a little bit too much on the apex there.
Now around he goes, and nothing he can do. But was able to keep the spot away from Florea, was able to fight him down the front straightaways. They were side by side. He's going to still barely hold on to 10th place, but man, there's going to be just a little bit frustrated because not only did he lose the ground on Janiskauskas, but also lost the spot to Davasing, and I don't think he's going to make up 5 seconds in the amount of time we have left.
No, not unless they have an issue, but Daniel Florea is only half a second back. I'm going to keep an eye on this because he might be able to reel Haiseta back in, given that he's got slipstream now.
Slipstream, a powerful thing if you can remain within around half a second of the driver ahead of you. Coming back onto the straightaway can give you a huge run and enough pretty much to make a pass happen. So we'll see if Flora can kind of keep up with his setup, but again, his setup got some really solid pace in that 4 machine.
Yeah, he's got a really good pace to this middle section of the racetrack. Might be running a bit higher downforce setup that's allowing him to get through the corners a bit better, but the straightaways are what worry me. If you're running that much downforce, whoa, big slide by Florea on corner exit, couldn't get the power down, and there goes all that slipstream he just had.
Yeah, and it looks like Haiseta's going to break away for now, looking back at Chris Hanson and Vincent Olivier Barron. These guys have not really traded spots. They've been so close together, but nothing's really happened between them.
Yeah, Barron's been sort of trapped here for majority of the race, but coming to 2 laps to go next time by, he's within slipstream range now, and this might be the time to strike if he was just hanging out. Now remember also at Road America how many drivers ran out of fuel, not only in this race but also the F1 race, so let's keep an eye on the fuel consumption here and see if that's a big issue.
It would be, again, I'll be really surprised if it did, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. I can't imagine these guys would make the same mistake twice. You'd think that they would put in just a little bit extra fuel to make sure they make it to the end, because we saw one driver, I forgot who it was, but they fell way out of the points. They were looking at a good day, but just because they couldn't make it back, missed out on big points.
2 laps to go for the race leader, Luke Barton. He's got a 5.5 second lead. Now, what Barron didn't need was this lap car. I think that is Jacob Toffs to get by him. You would think that it might help him with the draft, but it's also going to hurt him with some aero push through some of the faster corners. And so that is ultimately going to lose him a bunch of time. He's now 2 seconds back. Sebastian Jackson and Jonathan Diggs, this is for 15th place.
actually, Peltomaki just got around them. So they're going to continue their fight on. Jackson trying to hold off Diggs as they got really close together in that corner.
So Luke Barton in the race lead in the number 18 car, ahead of Juho Peltomaki. At Road America, it was Peltomaki and Makila that were easily the class of the field. This week, Luke Barton was fastest in practice, got out qualified by just a hair, started in 4th. But in one lap, he'll claim his first F3 victory of the season at Interlagos.
Yeah, what a way to come out, because this is his first start of this season. And to come out here and just straight up win after being the 2 dominating guys from last week, fantastic drive.
Nathan Foe and Roger Porcelli in the 0-3. About 7/10 between them, still a chance for a slipstream here.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. He's pretty far back in that respect. But it's not going to be enough. And he lost out on quite a bit with that. I'm sorry, no, I'm thinking of the wrong battle. But trying to catch up to Foe, not able to get it done. And they were looking at Barton in behind.
So Barton works his way through the middle sector here at Interlagos. The white flag officially out. This will be the final lap of the race. We've made 21 circuits around this track in Sao Paulo. And looking ahead towards the next couple races of the season, Luke Barton will have to defend his most recent victory in 2 weeks' time at Suzuka in Japan, then Monza, Catalunya, Long Beach. So a great range of racetracks coming up across Asia and Europe. Then we head back to the United States on the 12th of September for Long Beach. But for Luke Barton, the checkered flag dangling in front. He beat one of the best, Juho Peltomaki from Finland. Barton, however, will come on through in the number 18 car. And he'll bring it back for his first victory of the season. This time it'll come at Interlagos. Luke Barton wins the F3 Championship race, round number 2 in Formula I.
Again, fantastic drive from flag to flag for Barton. Got a great start. Was able to get past Peltomaki. He's going to have to settle for second place. Still a really solid drive. Peltomaki's going to still hold on to the Drivers' Championship.
And Makila in 3rd. Chris Hanson for Blaine Canada Racing. Both team cars inside the top 10. Nicely done by that team. Vincent Olivier Baer in 5th. Danny O'Keefe in 6th. And Enzo Haiseta, who had an 8th place run coming, is about 1 second back from grabbing 9th from Atish DB, but it's going to be just a little bit too late, I think, to grab this spot.
I mean, I don't know if he can make up some decent ground here by the time to get to the front straight. It might have something. He's actually going to lock up the right front there. He's so close. He knows he's so close to getting points. Getting some more points, that is.
Top 10 dangling, or top 9 dangling. He's 10th right now, and this would still not be a bad day for him. He's going to have a slipstream coming to the line, but it's not going to be enough, I don't think. 21 laps later, after a first lap wreck, Haiseta's going to come back in 10th place, less than a half a second back from W Singh. That is frustrating if you're Haiseta.
Yeah, I know you would have wished, one more lap. You could have potentially got W Singh, who will hold off on a 9th place as the points finishers come across the line in the top 10.
A lot of attrition early in the race, though. A handful of wrecks and issues. Here is a look at your race results. Luke Barton in the 18 out of the UK will be your race winner. Juho Peltomaki and Jan Makila, the 2 teammates, 2nd and 3rd, rounding out your podium. Then Chris Hanson, Vincent Olivier Baron, all by himself up in 5th for his team. Danny O'Keefe in 6th, another lone driver for his team. Out of the legendary racing camp, Frederick Larson, we documented his crash earlier in the race. I'm back now to the bottom half of the field. Jonathan Diggs with his late race spin ended up what could have been near a top 10 result, going to be a 15th place for him.
Yeah, and I think with that, we're going to call that a race here because F1 qualifying is just about to start in a few minutes.
All right, we'll be back in a few minutes. Make sure you jump over to the Formula One link. We'll join you there for qualifying for the 2nd round of the season in Formula I F1, Brazilian Grand Prix. We'll see you in a few minutes.